Welcome or welcome back. This is your Curious European friend, and today we're looking into 5 strange Canadian objects, and I have no idea what to expect, so let's go ahead.
Okay, so today we are going to look at a couple of strange Canadian objects. These are things that are normal to me as a Canadian, but might be unusual to you if you are from America or from some non-American country, which I am told exists as well. Number 1 is this thing. So one increasingly infamous thing about Canadians is that we apparently like to eat a lot of weird flavors of things and put a lot of weird sauces on our foods.
Wait, what was that? Plum sauce? Never heard of that.
Such as vinegar. This is a Canadian vinegar bottle, which you often
Wait,
get.
you have like a specific vinegar bottle to put your vinegar in? Is that a thing?
At the table at a Canadian
I guess so.
sit-down restaurant alongside the standard salt and pepper and ketchup and House of Parliament sauce. A lot
A what sauce?
of Canadians, particularly older Canadians, really like slathering vinegar all over everything, particularly French fries. My father, for instance, loved.
I need to try that actually now. Like, I've never heard of that, but I love vinegar. Like, I love sour things. I do love some vinegar, so maybe I need to try that.
To cover everything he eats in vinegar, but I think it's pretty gross. I didn't have any vinegar, so I had to fill this with 7-Up. All right, so for number 2, let us check this out. No, it is not Canadian money, it is Canadian Tire money. Canadian Tire is this very horrible chain of hardware stores in Canada, and I'm not exaggerating. They literally did this big special on Canadian TV a few years ago asking Canadians which store they hated shopping at the most, and the second most hated store was
Canadian Tire.
Wait, I'm confused. What is Canadian? What is that, Canadian Tire?
This is because Canadian Tire stores are always a horrible mess and smell
Like hardware stores, but why is it so bad?
weird, and there is never anyone around to help you with anything. If you are from Canada, please post in the comments agreeing with me because you know it's true. But anyway, in order to make shopping at Canadian Tire stores slightly less horrible, in the 1960s they invented this thing called Canadian Tire money. Every time you bought something at Canadian Tire, the cashier would give you back a tiny fraction of the money you spent in the form of Canadian Tire money. I think it's like 1% or something. I bought this spinner at Canadian Tire recently for about $10, and in return, I got 10 cents of Canadian Tire money. The idea is that by giving you Canadian Tire money, which you can spend at the store, they are forcing you.
Yeah, you're coming back. They're basically like forcing you to come back, or not forcing you, but trying to get you to come back with this tire money that you could only spend at the. Well, that's kind of genius, but.
To go back to Canadian Tire, which is ordinarily something people would not want to do. But the joke is on them because in reality, in my experience, all Canadians actually do is just stuff their Canadian Tire money in some drawer somewhere.
Yeah.
They make it out of this high quality money style paper, so you
That was to be expected.
feel guilty about throwing it out, but I mean, really, who cares? It's fine, it's not actual money. Now, speaking of heartless Canadian chain stores, number 3 is this cozy number. Now, way back in the day, a lot of Canadian land was owned by something called the Hudson's Bay Company, or HBC. The HBC was a British fur trading corporation that the British allowed to own their own land and run their own government in the northern half of North America. In the 1860s, the HBC sold all of their land to the Canadian government, and this is one of the reasons why Canada is such a gigantic country today. But anyway, in addition to trading fur and owning land, the HBC also sold a lot of provisions to the early Canadian pioneers, and the HBC is still actually around to this day, even though now it's just a crummy department store. But they're still selling blankets like these, which are called HBC blankets, which are the same kind of blanket that they sold in the pioneer days. I would say it is still a pretty common sort of blanket for Canadians to own. You can see it has these 4 different colors.
Like, is it like exactly like it, or did they upgrade it to be like nicer or something?
Stripes on it. I guess it's kind of ugly, but it's historic. We actually have a couple of different ones. In addition to the classic style, I also have this summertime fun edition and this HBC style beach towel. You can even get an HBC style travel mug or oven mitt. You know, just like the pioneers had. Number 4 is this bottle. This is what they used to call a stubby. Before the 1980s, you could only buy Canadian beer in a bottle like this. At one time, a lot of people would have probably listed these.
Oh wait, I think I've seen this in another video that I reacted to. I think it was a language video or something that they talked about the word stubby.
things as one of the biggest differences between America and Canada. But then in the 1980s, all of the Canadian beer companies gave up on the stubby and started selling Canadian beer in American-style bottles like this. They apparently did this for a bunch of reasons, including to make beer more attractive to women. You can make of that what you will. Nowadays, the stubby is an easy way to tell how old a Canadian movie or TV show is. For instance, we can easily tell that this beloved unfunny Bob and Doug McKenzie sketch was filmed in the 1970s because of the beers. And lastly, we have...
So does no one use those anymore then? Or do some restaurants maybe still have them, or some individuals?
This football. Now, this is one of those things that you have probably never noticed before, but once I tell you, you will notice it everywhere. This is a Canadian football. And do you know how we can tell that it's a Canadian football? Because of the white stripes that it has on either end. See, in the American Professional Football League, the NFL...
Yeah, I do not know anything about this. I've never watched one game of football.
Use balls without stripes. But in the Canadian Football League, or CFL... See, look, you can see it says CFL right here. They use balls with stripes. It gets a bit confusing, though, because in American college football, they have balls that have white stripes that only go halfway. What did the stripes mean? Well, I've heard that in the early days, they
were undecisive.
put the stripes on there so that the ball would be easier to see for audiences. But that also might just be an urban legend. It sure sounds like one. Nowadays, the stripes have just become a symbolic way to separate Canadian football from American football. Canadian football is actually a slightly different game from American football, but I will not bore you with the explanations of how it is different because I don't know. Dry throat. I would like to close this video.
Well, that's a fun fact. Now I know how to distinguish them if I ever watch a game.
By asking you for help with something. I would like you to mail me a weird object from your country. Or possibly state, if you're from America. Some ordinary object that is really common to you, but looks weird to people from other places. Just send me an email and I'll tell you where to mail this stuff.
I wouldn't even know what to... I mean, maybe klomp. What's the English word? You know the wooden shoes that is stereotypical or stereotype for the Netherlands. Not really many people wear those anymore. Only like farmers, maybe like my uncle still wears them, I think. But yeah, I feel like 99% doesn't wear them. But that is definitely an interesting object. They're not comfortable, but yeah, I think that's what I would probably have sent in. This video is from like 8 years ago or something.
And then once I get enough, I will make a video about them. I think this could be really cool. Or if that's too much work, you could also just describe a weird object where you're from in the comments below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
If he did make that video, I might check it out as well. Because that to me seems really interesting. All these different objects from different countries. Yeah, if you've seen that video, if you want to see it, let me know. But, wow. Yeah, I didn't know any of these things, so I learned a lot today. And you have a vinegar bottle, specifically made to carry vinegar. A beer bottle. Again, let me know if that's still used. Like what was it called? Stubby? Yeah, very interesting to see a bit more about Canada. I think he has different parts of these. I think he made like 3 more parts or something, or 2 more. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know as well. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video very, very soon.